judgment where you have not gone, but they are precedent judgments
There are lots.
that could help citizens?
Yes.
Any judgments from courts that could help
Yeah,
citizens as consumers?
okay, the one from Chennai,
Chennai
about
you said.
that
Any
was
other
one.
one?
The municipal one about beautification taking low priority compared
also
to
fine.
mandatory. That is another
Anything
one.
else you remember, if you remember, which can help citizens? Any other court judgment, if at all you remember?
There are a lot of, you have to be a consumer first. Of course, sometimes the corporations argue that you're not a consumer because you're not paying for anything. But my stand is that I'm paying for my water, therefore I'm a consumer. I'm paying property tax, therefore there is a commercial transaction. Right now I'm not,
It's okay if it's not, because
you cut it out,
several judgments that
which one? There was one KEB. UTI, would you like to hear about? They may not like it because I have to mention, then I will.
In general, if there is something.
In general, what else?
Which appeals to the common citizen.
What was the recent one? This Airtel was the
This was
recent one. We'll leave it at that.
Okay,
I
fine.
Okay.
Madam, if a consumer with a grievances, if a consumer with a grievance wants to get in touch with you, how should he or she go about? Any contact number, email or website? Only if you feel.
No. Why should they contact me? Because I have no authority. I'm just another citizen.
You can guide them.
I do that. I used to do that through my columns, which were very popular. People cut it out and preserved them for information. And now I do it through websites, Citizen Matters, I give out information. But I'm hard to reach because I'm on the move all the time, and it's hard to take phone calls also.
Can anybody contact you on the website?
No, I don't have a website of my own.
Email?
Email, I hesitate to give out again because I check email on the run. And if there are 50, 60 mails, it becomes difficult to decide what to open. And sometimes people don't do their homework. They thrust it on me saying, nange ee tara aitu, why don't you take it up? So if I say, okay, I'll tell you where is Kaveri Bhavan, I'll give you the address, you do it. They say, nive madbidi. So it becomes very hard to say, I won't help this person, but I will help you others. What I do try to do, based on my experience, is to address lots of groups. School groups, college groups, community centers, ladies groups, Rotary groups, wherever. And organizations. I mentioned earlier to you this credit card business. There is an organization which gives out information about what you should be careful when you handle a credit card. People just, the banks and the other organization, they call you and thrust a credit card on you. It is free, madam, please take it. So everybody thinks it's a very nice thing, you don't need to carry cash. But the hazards, they never tell you. They never tell you what you should be careful about when you go to an ATM. And it's very scary. I have been part of a team which has gone from city to city around Karnataka, including a police commissioner. And we have conducted whole day seminars to sensitize people about what to do, what not to do. And if somebody has withdrawn money, has harvested your PIN number or whatever, what to do, how to do it, who to approach. So such seminars will be very useful. Yes. And in conjunction with the police and experts, sharing information, that is one way of spreading information.
That's nice. Madam, how do you compare the state of consumer awareness in India compared to other countries?
Oh, India, it is much low, obviously because of poverty and illiteracy is one reason. But I do remember when I was in Bombay at the Consumer Guidance Society of India, we had an American consumer activist coming over to interact with us. And he was absolutely flabbergasted. He said, you are 1 billion plus and you have strength in numbers and you still think the consumer movement is not taking off, whereas we are 1/10 that population. How come? So there is always strength in numbers. Individually, if I go and complain, people say, nimge inneen kelsa ilva, neevu obbre barta idira. But if 100 people go with the same complaint or sign a petition. Yesterday in my talk, this is what I was saying. You can make inputs in different ways. If you are very elderly, housebound, you can at least sign petitions. If you are little more active, you can write letters to the media, you can address groups, you can share information, you can donate money. If you can't do anything else, at least write out a check if you are well off and you don't want to bother. Subscribe to magazines, donate for seminars, take out gift subscriptions for magazines like Insight. There is another magazine from Consumer Guidance Society of India in Bombay called Kimat. That is much less expensive, but of course they don't have test report, they don't have a lab. But even supporting the movement through subscriptions is also one way. And ask for consumer pages or columns in newspapers, you get what you want. And if you say, I would like to have a consumer column, or write yourself if you want to. Citizen journalism is a fashion these days. You can give a lot of feedback saying what happened when you went to the RTO for getting a driving license, when you went to pay your property tax. You can make inputs and you can network with other people. With the internet, it's very easy these days. You can do a lot just sitting at home. You don't even need to be active.
Madam, has globalization changed the scenario in the last 2 decades since liberalization? If it has, how?
Yes, globalization has really made a lot of difference, because globalization means opening up of the markets. So you get all these multinational brands coming in, and I find especially in pharmaceuticals, we found that many of these well-known brand names from multinational pharmaceutical companies, they have not only different prices in different continents, the same cough mixture or whatever, or pill or capsule with the same brand name sells for a different price in Africa, different price in Malaysia, different price in India, different price in America. There are some which are banned in America and Europe, and they are quietly marketed here because our laws are lax. And nobody tells us that this drug has been banned since last month abroad, why are you selling it? So this, our need for awareness and keeping abreast of latest information becomes manifold because of globalization, because what they cannot sell in their countries, they quickly dump into third world countries. So in that way we are at a disadvantage, and our populations don't keep abreast, especially pharmaceuticals, medicines. They are always being tested for long-term harmful effects. After 10 years of use, they come up with some harmful side effect. You take capsule for something, and then one of the side effects is a higher risk of heart attacks or something. Then the moment such a report comes out in US or European Union, the drugs are shipped here. Sorry. And we don't have access to these reports. So doctors prescribe, we take them, and we think they are the latest. But what happens to us 10 years down the line when we become susceptible? There are lots of drugs, I don't want to name them, but the information is available on websites. The information is also available from consumer organizations, including the one at Bombay and the one at Ahmedabad. They will all give you information. Their magazines carry latest information on what is banned, what you should take, what you should be careful about, what you should not take. That's the only way to keep abreast and then protect ourselves. So globalization has increased our exposure to risks.
Dr. Shakuntala Narasimhan, many thanks for enlightening our listeners about the rights as consumers. I, on behalf of the Nama Bengaluru Foundation, extend best wishes to you in all that you have been doing for consumer awareness.